Welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittney Bundles, and today's video is going to be more so of a rhetorical question. And this question is, what do you do daily to move you towards your goals? This question is a really, really important question. And the reason that it's so important is because I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we get so focused on constantly moving. I made a podcast and also a YouTube video in regards to being booked and busy, and kind of explaining how as entrepreneurs, we can find ourselves constantly being busy, constantly being booked, and still not really making any traction or still not really reaching our goals. In order to be a successful entrepreneur, one thing that I have found out is that it takes strategy. It's more so than being able to know how to just sell. It's more so and more involved than just knowing how to find a good product. It's more involved than just knowing how to build a website or how to run your website. There's more that goes into it than knowing how to ensure that you make a profit. But there's so many more strategies, and there's so much more intentional behaviors that I've noticed that differentiate successful entrepreneurs from those that don't consider themselves successful. We've talked about on this channel how different people define success in different ways, and that's okay. I'm not here to tell you what your definition of success should be, but I'm just here to challenge you in this video and have you start to think about what it is that you're doing on a day-to-day basis and if it is really progressive and productive to your overall end goal. So I am going to be looking down. I'm looking at my notes here periodically. I'm also standing up. I just moved and don't have all of my furniture in right now. As you probably can see, it's pretty bare behind me. But I do want to get this video out. Still do want to continue to pump out as many videos as I can. While being pregnant, I have I don't want to say less than a month. Probably have like 5 weeks left before I give birth, which I'm excited about, a little scared about too, but this isn't the video for that. If you do want to stay up to date with me on my pregnancy journey, I do have a pregnancy playlist. Be sure to check that out as well. But let's go ahead and get right into the video. If you are interested, be sure to give the video a big thumbs up. Please make sure that you are subscribed, and let's get on with it. So the first tip that I want to go over is stop excuses before you actually start to believe them. They are limiting. What I mean by this is there are so many entrepreneurs that really don't have an idea of how to structure their day in order to reach their goals. We've already mentioned that earlier in the video. Don't really have the mind frame to be intentional and to structure each movement to move them closer to connecting the puzzle. With that being said, some people do understand that they're doing the motions, they're constantly booked and busy, but they're realizing that, hey, this is not adding up. I have been booked for years. I have been in the same industry for almost a decade, and it's not changing. Like, everything's staying the same. I'm still getting very similar to the initial amount that I was receiving as far as clients and sales. I'm still relevant in a sense to the fact that I'm still getting booked. I still am generating income. However, it's not making sense, meaning the income isn't sticking. I'm not able to really live my lifestyle comfortably off of the income and the revenue from my business. I'm not really able to upscale my business, so my business still functions the same. Now, when I say upscale, I'm not saying that you have to get a new website every year or a new website every 2 years or, a new building if you're in a brick and mortar location every 3 years. I'm not saying anything like that, but I'm saying I'm referring to even like the smallest minute details that some people may overlook as far as how you are interacting with customers online. Some people have not even transitioned their business online yet, and they're feeling the consequences, I should say, of not being able to have a website in addition to a brick and mortar location. There are some people that have had websites but don't have an option for people to reach out and communicate with them via email or chat or different various ways. They may only have an option for you to leave a voicemail and then them call you back when they get around to it. So there are certain details, even like in the packaging, not saying that you have to get new packaging all the time, but there are some people that wanted to upscale their packaging and still have not. So their packages look the same as they did 10 plus years ago. And although I'm not saying that you have to constantly revamp your website or constantly revamp your store and your packaging, I am saying that some of the things with your business should be revisited, and you should always make sure that you're moving further, that you're progressing with your business and with your goals. And that's going to look different for everyone because everyone has different business goals, right? So when I put stop excuses, there are some people that are quite aware that their business is stagnant. Again, you're making money, you're staying booked, it looks like you're busy, you are busy a lot of times, but you're not making any money. Not enough for you to be able to actually sustain your lifestyle and your living expenses, like I mentioned. It doesn't feel like you're really growing. You still have clients, but they're not new clients in a sense. They're kind of like repeat clients, which are important, but you still want to make sure that not only are you maintaining repeat clients, but you're also bringing new clients to the door or customers through the door as well. That's very important. And there are people that know, again, that their business isn't growing, but they make excuses to make themselves feel better. Like, okay, well, yeah, it's not growing, but it's not growing because I just haven't sat down long enough to put together a plan. And although that may be true, it's still a crutch that is enabling you to feel somewhat okay with where you're at by justifying it and saying, okay, well, it could be different, but it's not because of this. Instead of taking the proactive approach and saying, you know what, I have allowed this to consume me to the point that I haven't had time to actually sit down and go over a plan to progress my business. And so now that I can identify that, I'm going to start doing that tonight, or I'm going to start doing that on Monday. Although excuses may make us feel better, they're just limiting what we can do. There are other people that are entrepreneurs and they're like, hey, I know my business can do well if I had this in place, maybe even if I had an assistant. But I don't want an assistant because I'm nervous about this and that. Do your research, figure out what you're nervous about, weigh it out. But if it's something that you're needing in order to achieve your goals, don't be afraid to go ahead and push through with it. There are a lot of people that have recognized that their businesses are stagnant and reached out to me for mentoring, consultations, and have noticed an immediate increase in their productivity. And sometimes it's like, again, we know what we need, but in our mind, because we know it, we're comfortable with pushing it on the back burner because we feel like whenever we're ready to do it, get the mentoring service, whenever we're ready to sit down and create a plan that's going to move us forward, whenever we're ready to hire that assistant or whatever the case may be for your specific business, we can do it and everything's just going to work great. And sometimes time is of the essence. Sometimes we wait too long to do certain things with our business that if we would have done initially, or if we would have done when we felt like we should have done it, it would have had a greater impact on the success end of our business. So stop excuses. If you can identify what you need, don't wait any longer. Invest in your business. Take time. Do what it is you need to do now. Stop putting it off. The next thing that I want to go over is use what you have, resources. This is something that is so big that I see a lot of entrepreneurs not doing. My mom was very, very big on this when I was growing up. And it wasn't because I told her I wanted to start a business, because honestly, at this age, when she was teaching me this, I don't think I was thinking about starting a business. I was very, very young, but she would always tell me, do what you can do with what you have. There'd be so many times I would look at my homework as a child and become frustrated. And I've mentioned this in some other videos. And I would say, Mom, I cannot do this homework. I don't want to do this homework. And she would come over there and look, and she would say, well, there's one thing you can do. And I'm like, what? You can put your name on the paper. And I used to think that was so crazy. Like, Mom, of course I can put my name on the paper. That's not what I'm struggling with. I'm struggling with these math issues or with these, science questions. And what she was explaining to me is, okay, Brittney, do what you can do first. Always ask for help, if you need it. definitely go out and look at your resources and search for assistance, but do what you can first with what you have. I had a pencil, I had a paper. I could have gone ahead and put my name on the paper, could have put the date on the paper. I could have cracked open my book and read the chapter that was associated to the questions that needed to be answered. There were things that I could have done that I just didn't do because I was so intimidated by what was in front of me. And so often as entrepreneurs, I feel like that's the same analogy that we have. We're so intimidated by everything that we have laid in front of us, all the different roles, all the different hats. And don't get me wrong, sometimes there's a lot of different roles and hats with businesses, right? And because we care about our businesses and we want our businesses to propel and excel, we take those to heart. And because we're taking it to heart, sometimes we can overanalyze things. Sometimes we can get so wrapped up and thinking that we're doing the right thing for our business, or just even getting stuck, not wanting to make the wrong move and harm our business, or, have our business backtrack. And so we get stuck and we kind of go back into that same analogy that I just mentioned of just looking and being like, hey, I don't know what to do. And there are resources for that, such as my mentoring service and also my business consultations. If you are interested, those links are down below. So be sure to book a session with me, especially, if this is something you're considering doing, do it now, because when I do go into labor, I probably am going to take a little bit of time off. So this is something that you want to get done immediately or sooner than later. I would encourage you to look into it now. Again, those links are down below. But instead of breaking it down and saying, okay, well, I have my website, I have my inventory, I have my pricing list, I have an idea of what I want to do for my business, I have my customers, I have a marketing list or service. So this is what I'm going to do to get started. And this is how I'm going to conduct my days. Sometimes we look at everything we don't have. Well, I have this, but I don't have a marketing manager. So I'm not going to even touch the email newsletters or use that service, even though I'm paying for it, until I get a marketing manager. Okay, well, we have packaging, but it's not the color that I want. And until I get the color I want, I'm not gonna use any of these packages. I'm not gonna send out any orders. I'm gonna mark on my website that my products are out of stock. Or, we do things like that. Sometimes we overlook the resources that we currently have. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying become comfortable with the resources you have if they're not something that you are comfortable using. So meaning if you want to upscale your packaging, put that on a list and make it a priority, but plan strategically as to how you're going to do that. There are some entrepreneurs that get money and they constantly throw it at their business with no strategy, and they're not noticing any return on their investment. It's not about how much you spend on your money or on your business, but a lot of times it's how you spend your time, your money, your resources, your creativity. It's what you do for your business. Every day, there should be something in place that is moving you closer to your dreams. Something in place. So first, one thing that I like to recommend to everyone that's an entrepreneur, especially newer entrepreneurs, is create a goal. Create a goal. Create a long-term goal for your business. Create a short-term goal for your business. And for that short-term goal, map out. And sometimes I'll do a short-term goal. It'll be for a month, but then I'll break that goal down into different weeks. So this week, this is what I'm looking to see. So I'm looking to see a traction of 10 more people on my website so that I can get to my overall monthly goal of having X amount in sales. And we all know that the more people you have on your website, the higher chance and probability you have of actually getting a sale. So what am I going to do today on Monday to make sure that I'm moving closer to that goal? Am I going to produce a video that is selling the services or products that I'm offering? Am I going to make a post that is explaining the services or products and showcasing what I'm offering? Am I going to reach out to 5 different people today on social media or off social media and explain to them the benefits of why they should use my service? But knowing how to do that, asking open-ended questions, building rapport, and some of the other fundamentals that we talk about on this channel. Now, the third tip that I want to go over is intentional personal development. So when I'm asking the rhetorical question of what do you do daily to move towards your goals, we also want to make sure that we're intentionally developing ourselves each day. I noticed that the better person I become, the better business person I become as well. It's like I cannot better myself without bettering my business. When I start to look at things differently, when I start to pour back into myself, when I start to take my health more seriously, I feel better. When I start to educate myself on different things that are going to be beneficial in my life and in my business, I start to look at things in a different view. And sometimes that's where the creativity comes from. Personal development, surrounding yourself, and not just saying it because it sounds good, but truly surrounding yourself with positivity. That doesn't mean that you have to go out and find 5 people a day that are quote unquote positive to surround yourself with. Some days you're going to be by yourself. At least I am. You know what I mean? It's just me and my family. Some days I don't get out of the house and meet new people. Some days I get out of the house, but I don't get out and meet new people. So, it's our responsibility to figure out ways to constantly develop ourselves, whether it be reading, whether it be via podcast, whether it be, going to different forums and blogs. It's very important, or getting into different groups. Even going to church has definitely changed, like going to church consistently has changed my outlook on life completely. And because my outlook on life has changed, my business has changed. So constantly making sure that you're intentionally developing yourself is also going to help you move toward those goals, even though you may be thinking like, how the heck is this social class going to help me move toward my business goals? But if it's helping you become a better person, if it's helping you with your communication skills, if it's helping you with your listening skills, all of that's going to play a part in the kind of entrepreneur that you are. The 4th tip that I have is know exactly what you're working towards. So we've kind of been talking about this the entire video. There are so many entrepreneurs that say, hey, I'm just working so that my business will be successful. But what is success to you? Have you actually sat down and defined what success is? Do you know how many business owners I have talked to and that I've worked with, and also just in random conversation, and they'll talk about their business and I'll say, hey, so what is your monthly projection for your revenue? And they're like, I don't know. I want to make the most I can. Okay, me too. But what is your projection? What is your goal? What are you aiming towards? We want to make sure that we're being very specific so that we can have a strategy as to how to obtain those goals. Yes, I want to make as much money as I possibly can too, but I know that my goal is to make no less than, let's say, $4,000 this month. So how am I going to do that? What do I need to do? How do I need to structure my days? Look and see how many days are in the month. You know how many entrepreneurs don't know how many days are in the current month? That's important because you want to be able to identify how many days are in the month and be able to break those days down and figure out how you can get to that goal. So how much do I need to make each day to get me to this goal? And you don't have to know it off the top of your head. I don't. I use my calculator and I work towards that. I talk a lot in a lot of my videos about not focusing just on the money. And we don't want to focus just on the money. We want to focus on the strategies and the fundamentals, but you still want to have a goal as to what you're working towards. Are you working towards getting at least 2,000 website visitors this month? If that's the case, you still want to know how many days are in the month, and you still want to have a goal of how many people you're expecting to get to your website each day, and being accountable on checking on that, going to your website, looking at your analytics. I know it can get boring. I know sometimes you don't want to do it, but this is what it takes a lot of times in order to become successful, knowing exactly where you're at, knowing where you're going, and being able to account for how you're going to get there. Last tip, 5th tip is what's working for you when you're not. So when people ask, hey, what are you doing to move you towards your daily goal? Sometimes I don't want to do anything, especially being pregnant. I may not have energy to record a video. I may not have energy to make a post on Instagram. So what I do is when I do have energy, like tonight, I don't have a lot of energy, but I have some energy. I will record a video, pre-record it. Not saying that I'm going to post it today or tomorrow. Who knows when I'll post it? But the point is that I'm putting the work in now. When my video goes up, that video is going to be working for me even when I'm not. There's ways that you can schedule posts on Facebook. So if I know that, I really don't want to get on Facebook tomorrow, I can schedule a post to go on my business page and it pop up while I'm taking a nap. I can record a podcast and upload that podcast, and my podcasts are monetized. And while someone's listening to my podcast and I'm sleeping, I'm working toward my goals. I'm still getting paid. I'm still being able to generate traffic to that podcast. I'm still being able to spread the word about the different products and services that I'm offering if I include that in the podcast. So there's ways that you can have your business working for you when you're not. I tell a lot of people this, some of the most successful businesses that I have seen and entrepreneurs that I've seen in multiple business assets and fields have been people that are able to find ways to make money when they're not present. You don't always want to have to be present with your business in order to make money, which I'll talk about in a whole nother video. So if you are interested in that topic, be sure to stay tuned, stay subscribed, get subscribed if you're not already. Be sure to turn on your post notifications. That way you know when I upload a video. But the goal is to not have to be present all the time to make money. Now, of course, I'm not going to say just go on a vacation and just be gone for years and then decide to come back and start your business. But I am saying that you should be able to still live your life and have money coming in from different areas. An ebook is an excellent way to do that. I've talked about that in some of my other videos. Podcast, another excellent way to do that. YouTube, another excellent way. There's a way that people are monetizing TikToks. I still haven't dived into that yet. And, I don't even want to make an excuse as to why I haven't. I'm just trying to figure out if that's something that I really want to commit to with my business or not, because I'm on, just various platforms. And I don't know if I want to commit to another at this point. However, it's still something that someone else out there may be interested in doing. There's just so many ways that you can spread the word about your business and monetize it. There's so many ways that you can help other people and monetize it. There's so many ways that you can sell your business and receive revenue without actually being present. You can do a lot of things just from your phone now. It wasn't like that always, but now we have the ability and the flexibility to be able to work literally from anywhere there is internet and a camera, or not even a camera, just internet. So sometimes we have to take advantage of, the resources we have, our creativity, and think outside of the box. It's great to do this and that, but it's also great to figure out ways that we can make money when we're not actually physically working or physically present, because that's going to be essential, especially as a mother, especially as a wife. There's a lot of different things that I have to do, and I'm not willing to sacrifice being a mom or sacrifice being a wife in order to reach success for my business. I want success and I'm going to get it, and I'm going to maintain it. However, I still am going to be present in my family's life. And I think so many people have forgotten how to, or not even forgotten, but sometimes people just don't care that there is a balance that's necessary in order to have everything run smoothly. And some people choose one or the other, business or family. And my whole model is, you don't necessarily have to choose between the two. You can have them both. It just all comes with balance and being intentional and having a strategy, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video. So I probably will be talking more about that balance and that strategy and, kind of like work, family, life balance on my Patreon for one of my Girl Talk videos. So if you're not on my Patreon, be sure to sign up. I will have that link down below as well. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those down as well. I do want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.